All right, so this is the DC Incentives podcast, and we have a special financial literacy coach in the building.
Again.
Yes, it is.
Listen,
we had to bring you back. You know that?
Of course, we got to bring you back.
You know that?
Of course. Yo, if y'all haven't seen it on the last podcast, I advise you to watch that last one. DC Incentives podcast on Chuck Finance. Okay, he talks about financial literacy, lobbying. It's so many everything.
It's so much,
so much information. We had to bring the financial literacy coach in the building right back. Let's get it, man. All right, so let's get it started. All right, so I'm a first thing before we get started, pen, pad, paper, because this is gonna be the type of episode where you're gonna have to pause it and be like, all right, hold on, what did he just say? Let me rewind that back.
Exactly. Yes, it is.
I'm gonna make sure it slows down, because this guy's a beast.
This is it.
He's a beast. All right, so Chuck Finance, talk to us.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys hyping me up like that. I'm a beast. All right. If you did not get a chance to see the first podcast that you guys blessed me with, go back and see that, because I share some information and data. And I want to preface this that interview was based on you guys. Mm-hmm. If you watch it, I answered your questions. Mm-hmm. So you guys geared that conversation.
Yes.
So I revealed some stuff, but not too much, because I didn't know where it was going to go. Mm-hmm. Now that we've been together for a little bit, I can expose some other stuff. Okay. Because now that's what it's all about. You have to gauge your audience and make sure you don't lose them. Okay. So now that you guys got me back again, and I hope that I did a great job the first time.
Definitely
but
did.
Now I'm bringing some I got some books to prove some of the data that you can go and reference some of the things I'm going to talk about.
All right.
All right, that's good. So yeah, he got some books. If y'all see it on the screen.
I guess this one, what we're going to do is he going to guide it, and we're going to bring our questions in as he's guiding it.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's have that.
No, what we're going to do is this. We're going to continue the conversation, because Rich and I have been having many conversations since we met.
Facts.
And Rich, somehow, he gets me for about an hour and a half of content every week. Somehow, a 5-minute conversation is an hour and a half. It's like, we ask you one more question. But you can tell that a person is learning by the questions they ask.
Yes.
And he goes deeper and deeper. So I know that he's actually listening. But not only listening, he's doing his homework. And that's key. One of the things I don't want you to do is I don't want you to believe me. I want you to do the work. Because I want you to get into the habit of checking your reference points, so that if anyone tells you anything, you can have a base and say, okay, so-and-so said this, let me check to validate what they said. Yeah. That's all there's to it. So we're not getting idolization of anybody or the God of this. No. We're going to check and make sure that what they're saying is correct. One of the things that I'm going to say is that there are things that are happening in the culture right now on Instagram and on TikTok and all these things. You have a lot of people out there saying a lot of things. Mm-hmm. We haven't said anything. You've noticed that I don't associate myself with certain people, is because when I hear and I see their programs, I know that there's a flaw to it. So I just want to say that, because what's happening is a lot of them are getting exposed now. I'm not going to say any names, but a lot of them are getting exposed. And these are things that I saw a year ago, and I'm like, it's going to happen. So that's what's all is to it. And this is why I say, do your homework. Don't believe me. Check the resources, check the sources, to make sure that it's correct information and knowledge that I'm giving you.
Gotcha.
All
okay.
Right.
So we're going to continue the conversation. So go ahead, Rich. Continue the conversation.
You ready, Xavier?
Go ahead.
Ready?
All right, let's get it. All right. I gotta hit him with challenge questions. Okay. So it's 2023. 2023. We talk about inflation. Eggs is $9.
Right.
The CPI is going up.
Right.
So what do you think about the economy in 2023, what do you think? How's that going to go? Is it going to go like to 2024, like this year, 2023?
Well, I heard we're going into a recession, so I'm trying to figure out.
We're already in a recession.
We in one, okay.
So a recession is when there are 2 quarters of negative growth. So we're already in a recession. So what happens is we have to look at who we're watching and who we're listening to, and the information manipulation.
Okay.
That's key. So if they're telling you we're going into a recession, you're thinking that there's still hope. But when you say you're in a recession, you start changing your habits and you start changing the things that you're doing. They don't want you, and I've talked about the powers that be, they don't want you in a frantic mode where you start bugging out, because when you start bugging out, you stop investing. You start spending money. When in times of crisis, when people start getting scared, they start holding on to money. They don't want that. They can't have that, because remember, they're making money based off what you're doing. Money has to flow. That's the word, currency. And if it's not flowing, there's a problem. So to answer your question, it's going to get worse before it get better. And COVID is part of that, you know, when you talk about supply chain, supply and demand, all of these things. But again, what we're looking at is we're looking at situations that if people are aware of what's going on, they can actually adapt and overcome the situation. So that's what it all boils down to, understanding and being real about what's going on. So now, why is the price of eggs $8, $9? When you look at why, it's like, oh, okay, but then there's some stories out there that it's called market manipulation. They're saying that it's being manipulated by the egg farmers. We don't know for sure, but understand that this is all a game. And once you understand the game, you adapt, you improvise, you overcome.
That's just like the money, the game Monopoly.
Game Monopoly. Got it.
Okay. So if you're talking about we gotta so they're saying like we gotta learn how to play the game.
Learn how to play the game. Right.
And how can we play the game?
No, I was about to ask that.
Right, by reading and studying. One of the things that we have to, as a historian, we have to look at the history of money. And once you understand the history of money and how money moves around the world, you have a better understanding of what's going on. The problem is no one taught us how to play the game. And when you start playing the game, you start understanding why certain laws are being passed. You start understanding why certain things are happening worldwide. When it comes to money, you're like, oh, that's why. Got it now. Because historically, this is what's going on and blah, blah, blah. So that's what it all boils down to. Understanding the game and understanding the history of money. When people, when they take my workshops and I go into the history, they think it's boring. But at the end, they understand. Because there's a reference point. Why are these things happening in other countries? It's like, oh, okay, because historically this was going on, deals were being made across the board. Now I understand what's going on. Yeah.
Gotcha. And when we talk about, like, you know, knowing how to play the game, so that means that everybody needs to learn financial literacy.
It is my theory that financial literacy is the most important skill you need to learn.
Gotcha.
It is.
That's my theory. So you can be a doctor, and if you don't understand financial literacy, you're always going to be broke. If you're making $100,000 a year, but spending $101,000 at the end of the year, you are going to be in a deficit. So no matter what, if you're a plumber, if you are an accountant, if you are a janitor, if you don't understand financial literacy, you will always be broke.
Gotcha.
So that's my theory. The most important thing. So no matter what profession you're in, if you don't understand the numbers, you're going to be lost.
So the best way to start, even for a person to step foot into learning financial literacy, just to begin, is where?
Well, we got podcasts now. I was raised on books.
Yeah.
But we have podcasts. We have your podcasts. We have a whole bunch of podcasts out there on financial literacy. There's a difference between investing and financial literacy. Investing is investing. Financial literacy is understanding the game. So I think that when it comes to the financial literacy part, you have to find people that you like that are teaching you about what financial literacy is. Not trying to sell you on an investment, not trying to sell you or get you to invest in something. No, let's teach about financial literacy. And then when you go to make the move, you have a better understanding of what you're about to do.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And you have books, you have podcasts, you have YouTube, but again, you have to be very careful.
YouTube is so broad, you can't really narrow it down, and then you got to figure out if this person is a good person to learn from or not.
Absolutely.
Or if they give you the right proper information at that too.
But when it comes to financial literacy, you have an idea and understand what you're looking for. So when you hear something different, the question comes, I never heard that before. Let me go check the sources and where that information comes from. That's what it's all about. Studying and making sure, again, is the person valid? Yeah.
Okay. Any questions before I ask this question?
Ask your question.
All right. We're getting pen and a pad, y'all. I'm so serious.
Okay.
Talk about 401ks, IRAs, traditional IRA, Roth IRA.
Right. What's the question you talking about?
So what is it, and how you there's some people that put their money into 401ks, IRAs, into it, but they sometimes they do it by themselves, individually. Sometimes they bring it to the employer, but they can't touch that money. I've heard, until they're like, what, 59?
59 and a half.
So my thing is,
59 and a half.
Is your question that what it is?
Yes.
And
what is it?
Does it make sense to do?
Does it make sense to put it in a 401k IRA, for retirement,
So part two question. So first part is 1973, 1974, 1975. This is when 401ks and IRAs started dropping.
Okay.
Because at one point in time, when you worked for a company, you invested in a retirement, you retired, you got an income based on that retirement. That was stopped, and then you have to figure out, the government was like, okay, we got to give them something. So there was something called the IRA, which is Individual Retirement Arrangement. That's the key word. IRA, when you look at the documents, when it comes to the IRA website, it's called arrangement. It's not called an account. So now what a lot of people don't understand is that all these banks and all these other organizations that they're putting money into, they're called accounts. That's what it is. All they're all, technically, it's a savings account that the banks are actually investing their money with. So now you're getting upset because you're looking at the numbers, and on paper, the value of your portfolio, because that's what they're doing, quote unquote, investing, that's what they're being told, the value of their portfolio is fluctuating. It's going up one month and it's going down. Why is that? It's because the investments are going up and going down. Now here's the key. When you understand that you're putting all that money in the bank and they are investing your quote unquote IRA, it's tax deferred, the money is tax deferred. So you're hoping that after the end of the due time, for at 59 and a half, you're hoping that your investments have increased.
But actually, but you can lose money too.
You can lose money.
You see what you can lose money.
But my thing is, when you said tax deferred, can you explain that?
Tax deferred means that it's not going to be taxed. When you are an earned income person, you are actually taking money and you're putting it somewhere where the government is not going to tax you on that. Okay, it's tax deferred. What they'll do is they'll tax you later on down the road. So now what happens is you are not, when it comes to your adjusted gross income, it drops. So now, again, what we're looking at, if I'm making $50,000, but I'm taking $10,000 and I'm putting that into an IRA, the government is not going to tax me on that. They're going to tax me on $40,000 now. Now, if I have two children, whatever the numbers are, that drops. We're talking about adjusted gross income. So now I'm going to be taxed on the money that, quote unquote, is taxable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's what it's all about. So you're taking money now, they're not going to tax it, and you're letting it grow, but they're going to tax it later on down the road. And you're hoping that the investment has grown so that you can eat the cost of the taxes or whatever.
But you said hoping. Like, why do I need to hope on? I need to make sure it's like I'm actually making sure I'm
getting
putting
his money back.
Exactly, getting this money back.
To me, that makes me not even want to bother to even try that. It makes me want to go, you know what?
Why am I hoping?
What other options do I have?
Exactly.
Like, what other options I have?
If that's the case, it brings back to the beginning of what we was talking about on the last episode about I might as well just put my money to protect myself into a what is it, a life insurance policy,
basically.
Okay.
A mutual life insurance policy. If that's the case, then
now we're having, this is financial literacy. Now we're having a conversation. So now understand that the life insurance company, they don't want you to invest money in a quote unquote investment firm. Because why? Because it's taking money from them. Okay, and the investment firm doesn't want you to invest in insurance because why? It's taking money from them. Remember, one of the key things that we have to look at, and a lot of people don't see, is that behind the office, there are fees. If we are not producing, if we're not getting funding, we don't charge fees. So the more funds that we receive from clients, the more fees we can charge. If we don't have a lot of clients, we can't charge these fees.
Gotcha.
Because remember, they have to get paid also.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's key. So now when you look at the life insurance policy, it's like, hold on, that may be a better option. But again, you have to look at your own personal life. You have to look at your lifestyle. You have to look at what you want your outcome to be. Life insurance policy is great. And I'm happy now because it hasn't been less than 12 months that a lot of people are talking more about life insurance policies now.
I've been hearing it a lot more.
You see it a lot more. You
Everywhere.
see it a whole lot, and that's good. But yet and still, we have to make sure that we get the correct life insurance policy, and we may have to make sure.
The issue right there.
Yeah, we have to make, because that was your question. That was your question last time, and I remember that.
I've still been looking into stuff.
What's the life insurance policy? And that's the key. So when we look at these things, again, what is the end result? What are you looking for? And what is going to be the outcome? How much is going to cost, the final cost? Why invest in something when I'm making 2% interest, but you're charging me 3%? For fees and services. Again, this is the fine print that people are talking about. This is the financial literacy part, that you have to do the research, you have to do the work to understand that this is a great deal, but who is it a great deal for? Is it a great deal for you, or is it a great deal for me? These are key questions that you have to ask. So
going back to the 401k and IRA, if let's say if we want to put money, into our employers.
Okay.
Do you think
the IRA?
We just won't continue.
Now remember, with the individual retirement accounts, remember there was something called the Great Depression and the stock market crash. Yeah. It wasn't regulated. Stocks weren't regulated by the government. Okay. So what happened was there was a big stock market crash, and after that, the federal government came in and they created something called the FDIC. They started regulating the markets. Again, this is the historical part, so we understand where some of these organizations come from. So what they did was the government said we have to protect the people. So they created something called the FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Company. Okay. So what they also did was they set up these accounts to protect the people. So you had two. You had your commercial accounts and you had your savings accounts. Savings accounts were used by people like us. Commercial accounts were used by rich people, investment accounts. So those commercial accounts were accounts that were still being used to invest money in. Savings accounts were not being used to invest money. So you couldn't lose it. So if it's in the bank and it's insured, no matter what happens, you're supposed to get that money back, as long as it's under $250,000. Got it. So that's the key. What happened is there were no stock market crashes since the 1920s. What happened? Bill Clinton came, he deregulated the banks, which was key. He gave the banks more power now. So what now was the banks started investing those funds any way they wanted to, and then there was the big stock market crash, and then a whole lot of things happened, and larger banks started by getting smaller banks. So this is key. So understanding what this whole game is about. Got it? So now people have accounts and they don't understand that their quote-unquote savings account is in an investment bank, And the underlining writing is that those investments that they think they're savings are being used on the stock market. And if they lose it, they're going to lose all their money.
Gotcha.
So it makes no sense to have a savings account, basically.
No. You have to have, well,
you have it, but
according to
don't.
financial literacy, you should have a savings account.
Mm-hmm.
But your savings account should only be 3 to 6 months of your operating costs. So if you're operating at $2,000 a month, that's your rent, your car fare, your food, whatever that is, all of that. If it's $2,000 a month, you should have 3 months, at least 3 months in the bank for that. 6 months is better. Everything else should be going to investments that you set up and that you design, because you're going to make more money on investments that you set up and you design than having that money in the bank making 0.03%.
Understood.
Okay, so going back.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Because some people think we shouldn't save. I don't like the word save, but to be safe, you want to put that in there. And the way the system is, they want to see if you can manage money. That's what they want to see, if you can manage it.
What about a high yield savings account?
What do you call high yield?
Like you know, it compounds, so it goes up. If you just not just putting it in a.
I understand what you're saying, but I want to make sure you understand what high yield is. See, again, this is financial literacy. Financial literacy is about language. Yield is the percentage of quote unquote interest that you're going to get. Okay? Now, what's high yield to you? High yield to you might not be high yield to me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So, what would you consider high yield?
I don't even know what it is, so please explain.
Well, it's a percentage.
It's a percentage. So it's like you put your money into like a bank, and the bank gives you money just by parking your money into their account.
Meaning that you
words,
put money in, and it's like it's interest, gaining that interest, and they're giving you that little tiny cent.
No. That's a regular savings account.
Okay.
A regular savings account. Banks is only going to give you 0.01%.
Yeah.
Right.
If you put it in a high yield savings account, that's different.
Okay. You're getting more of a return on the savings.
Yes.
Okay.
So again, the question is, what is high yield to you? See, high yield to you might be 0.05 cents. High yield to me is like, no, that's not going to work for me. Do you see what I'm saying? We're talking about high yield. Again, the banks, it sounds good, but to me, I'm like, no, I can take that and I can put it somewhere, and I can get 12% interest on whatever by investing in something. And again, this is where the financial literacy part comes in. Knowing that, okay, why would I put it and sit it here when I can move it over here into something else that's going to bring me more of an income? That's why I asked you what is high yield to you. Because again, we're going by what they say. High yield to them might be the market standard of, let's say, 0.1 or 0.2 cents compared to others. But that's the bank, that's the market. So now, you know what? Why don't I put it in something called real estate? Why don't I put an investment or something that's going to bring me more money in a short amount of time?
Gotcha. Okay. So, do you? I'm not even going to ask you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
I'm not questioning you. It's just that I want you to see.
So you want me to understand.
These are conversations Rich and I have throughout the week. Because my thing is, as an instructor, is to get him to understand the game. And once you understand the game, you can say, okay, I can see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So why aren't you making these investments? Because that doesn't work for me. You want me to tie up 12 months of my money on a CD account that's only yielding me X amount of dollars, but then there's inflation that they don't talk about, okay, because that's going to affect my money. And then there's the fees. How much fees? So I'm expecting X amount of dollars, but then at the end, after 12 months, well, I'm not receiving that. Well, you didn't read the fine print. My bad. I'm sorry.
That makes so much sense to me, because recently I had all these savings accounts, all these different accounts. I wound up closing some of the accounts out because I was like, I'm not getting that much back. I'm putting money into this. And I'm not even getting that much back that I need to be getting back when I could have been putting it elsewhere. I thought about it. I didn't think it now that you're saying it, it's making me think about it the way you're saying it.
Uh-huh.
But basically, all in all, that's how I thought.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, well, I got to find other avenues, other things I can do. Still in the process of finding all of that out, but this is what's been going on in my brain. It's like,
what you've done is you've opened the door to understand that there's something that you don't know when it comes to financial literacy.
Yeah.
And that's why you are on the path to getting that knowledge and getting that information. And a lot of people are not on that path because there's something called AUM, assets under management.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is simply is that you're turning over your assets, so you're having someone else manage it. Remember, they're charging you a fee for that. So if I'm investing your money in a stock or crypto or whatever, and that investment is not going the way we want it, I'm still charging you every single month for the service fees.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you make money or not.
And that's the
I'm
thing
still charging
I don't
you.
like.
Got it? But again, this is why it's always important when you look at the channels and you look at the markets and you look at the reporters and you look at all these people talking, they're always pushing hope, no matter what, if you listen to them. Because they don't want people to panic. When people start panicking, what are they going to do? They're going to pull their money out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pull their money out, oh my gosh, all of a sudden now, we can't charge these fees.
Gotcha. Okay. So I hope y'all learning something. So
I don't have nothing to say.
all right, so what is all right, I'm gonna drop this, y'all. I'm gonna drop this. What is the 529?
529 is the school, for the school. It's the investment for schools, for education investment grant.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So what is the pros and cons of a 529?
The 529, the pros, again, we were talking tax deferred.
Okay.
That's a pro. But the con is you have to use it for education, that's it. You can't use it for anything else.
Okay, so I want my audience. Okay, so remember what he is saying. I'm telling y'all. So the con is it's only for education, which is that
purpose,
which is that means that what happens if, and you said it's only for, it can be education for myself or my child or someone else.
You can transfer it over.
Gotcha.
That's one of the things you can transfer it over.
Gotcha.
Imagine this: if my child is one, I have a brand new child, and I open up a 529, and
Gotcha.
18 years old, the child doesn't want to go to college, doesn't want to go to school. So what do I do? And I don't have any other children. What do I do with that 529? It has to be used for education. But a lot of people don't know is that it doesn't have to go to quote unquote a college. It can go to something else.
Whatever education
educating you. That's what a lot of people don't know. So there are kind of like small loopholes that you can navigate around. But if you don't know this,
how can you do it?
How can you do it? Yes.
So what happens if I use it for, my child, in the future, and he wants to, and next thing you know, he doesn't want to go to college.
So you got,
and I've been saving for, like, let's say 15 years, 529. What happens to my money?
That's a good question. I don't know.
but see, my thing is,
that's a good question. I don't know. Now you see how the game is played?
Wait,
you don't know.
Can you lose that money or?
Yeah, because it's not being used. You losing it basically.
The
just sitting
purpose
there.
of it is for education.
So what would make sense? Granted, the child may not want to go to school, but we have trade schools.
Right.
You have school.
Different
You
types.
have other things you could take courses in and
you
different
can
things.
transfer
So
it
you
also.
do that.
You can transfer it over. Damn.
So you have to just find someone to
That's
transfer it
crazy.
over to.
Learn how
Or
to
you
play
can.
the game.
My thing is, if the kids don't want to go to school, I can't use it right now. Why don't I find somebody else in the family or somewhere? Somebody want to pay? Oh well, this is worth this amount. You can give me this much money, and here's you go.
Well,
Let's transfer it over to you. How about that?
Now you got it. Again,
Gotcha.
see, again, these are one of the things that we have to understand is that it's like a whole puzzle, and sometimes there's a key piece to the puzzle that brings everything into visuals. That one key piece, and that one piece of data and information. Once you have it, it makes sense. Everything makes sense.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, no one's going to tell you that unless That's that inner knowledge. That's that stuff that.
Well, you gotta read.
You gotta read.
Every single contract you sign.
That's it, and that's it. You gotta find somebody like me, be like, okay, let me show you this. Blah, blah. Like, why didn't they just say that? Because they're not gonna say that to you. Remember, it's called assets under management.
Yes.
They want to make sure that they can manage your assets. I had someone hit me up the other day, wanted AUM, and I was like, dude, I mean, really, come on now. Like, he promised 12 to 15% return on investments. And I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to get into this because you cannot guarantee me 10 to 15%.
You can't.
You can't guarantee me that. There's no way. Because my question is, if you are doing that, somebody else knows.
Yep.
Somebody else knows. So if he said 3% maybe, I'll look at it. 2% maybe. But again, I'm like, nah, I can do this myself and keep all the profits myself. Yeah.
So it's all about asking the right questions.
Asking the correct financial literacy, asking the correct questions, getting the answers that you're looking for. They're not going to freely tell you these things.
Unless you ask the right questions.
Unless you ask it. Now, ethically, according to the contract, they're supposed to have you as their best interest in mind when it comes to financial advisors. It's ethical. But that's a gray area too, because you can finagle that. One thing we talked about this last time I was here was there are a lot of great, wonderful programs on paper, but there's one thing that they all have. It's the human factor. And if there's humans attached to it, something can go wrong.
Yeah.
If you look at all types of theories, they're great theories, but once you add humans to it, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Something's going to fall off the table. Something's going to fall off the truck.
Yeah.
Numbers are going to be mixed up. And that's what people have to understand. So that's what it all boils down to.
Gotcha. Let's see. Talk about Mr. Financial Literacy here. Is there anything else we need to know?
Well, there's a whole lot.
Well, you know, what people, our audience need to know?
There's a whole lot. But what I would like to express right now is do your homework.
Okay.
Don't read one book and call that book the Financial Bible. It's not. There are many different pieces when it comes to financial literacy, and there are many different avenues. Specialize in what you want to specialize in, but have a knowledge of all of it. And that's key, because what you want to do is you want to be able to understand the conversation at the table. If you don't understand the conversation at the table, you're going to be you're going to be robbed, you're going to be lost. So that's the key. So you're able to financially understand the conversation so that you can ask better questions.
Gotcha.
And this is why Rich is so important, because since the past time I spoke to you, the very first interview, you've gotten so much better in your questioning, because you're like, wait. And it's like, and you got it. And you're going like, oh, I didn't see that before. And it's not going to take an overnight process. It takes time, because you're reconditioning your brain. You're reconditioning. So now they were taught what? Put your money in the bank, save it. Okay, for what? A rainy day. Okay, there's got to be a rainy day. That's a given. But if I'm only making 0.003 cents, why? I can put it in somewhere else. Now we're having a larger conversation. Bad news is I got a phone call about a couple of weeks ago, and reverse mortgage situation happened, and someone called me up, and their aunt had a reverse mortgage. They found out their aunt passed away around Thanksgiving. So they're like, what can we do? And they got a notice from the lender that they wanted that money up front, the balance.
Wow.
Oh.
Because that's the deal with reverse mortgages. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're going to lose their house because they didn't understand the fine print.
So always read the fine print, no matter what. Even if it takes even if it takes 2 hours, Read the fine print.
And what a lot of people don't understand is that, listen, it's fine print for a reason. Go to your copy machine, blow it up, 150, 200. So it's not fine print anymore. It's regular standard font. So now read that. So when you read that, you start questioning. And this is why at the very beginning I talked about some of those people out there who have programs. I read their program, I read the fine print, and I'm going like, wait a minute, hold on. And they're like, Chuck, why aren't you getting down? I'm like, did you read the contract? Did you read the contract? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, but everybody else is doing it. I'm like, okay, fine. But then 600 months later, Chuck, let me tell you what happened. Okay, but did you read the fine print? You know, if you read the fine print, you would have understood that that was a possibility of happening.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, now this is where I gotta think to help the audience out. This is where an average person would say, or you would say, all right, Chuck. Now I gotta play God's advocate. I don't have time to read a 2-hour long page of a fine print. I'm just gonna push accept.
Okay, got it.
Because I'm interested.
Got it. Okay, got it.
So, what? I mean, what else you need me to do? I don't have time to read. Like, let's say if I'm like Facebook, you know, social media.
Right.
Of course, before you push install, they have
the
you have to scroll
do you agree?
Like you have to scroll like 4 times in order to push accept.
Right.
That's the fine print contract.
Got it.
I don't have time for that.
So, what do you want me to do? I mean, seriously. I mean, no, it's fine. You don't have time. But when you look at the effects of not having time, now you can't get mad.
He's right.
You can't get mad.
He's right.
Because remember, we're signing contracts. Mm-hmm. You're hitting OK. So you're agreeing to what's written here. It's not my fault that you didn't read it. It's there in black and white. So now you're upset at me because you didn't see that one line. It's there. And this is what companies do to protect themselves. Because they make sure that by law, information is divulged and is shown. If you didn't read it, that's your fault. That's your point.
So, to answer the question, we will have to find time to, even if we're at...
If it's that important, find time. But remember, what we're looking at is we're looking at habits.
Gotcha.
Let's make this a habit. Let me make sure I understand what I'm about to get involved in. That's a habit. You're not going to get it overnight, like I said, but if you make it the habit, you know what? Let me make sure, take time. And you know what? Okay, let's do this. If a bunch of us are going to do it, you take a page, I take a page, you know, and we all...
That makes sense.
We all break it down. You know, it doesn't have to all be me, but come on, let's do this. Because what's going to happen is, did you catch line 33 on page 4? Nah, what did it say? Oh, okay, wait a minute. And if you don't know, you can alter contracts. You can have lines taken out of contracts if you want to. A lot of people don't know that.
Wait, so let's go like like Airbnb, right?
Got it.
I'm reading the contracts, and when I'm reading this 4-page contract, you saying I can do the lines. That's what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. So my question to that is, what do you think that we should what would your advice be as far as like to someone that that needs to read it and that they're interested, but sometimes they don't have quote unquote time?
Well, that's when you have lawyers and you have people advisors who will actually go through that, and you pay them to do that. That's it. That's just the bottom line. You pay them to actually access that data and give you the layman's term. What does this mean? That's what it all boils down to. Having someone there, and quiet as it's kept, I kind of do it for some people because some things I want to understand myself. When the PPP loans came out, The very first group, I came across a couple of people. They showed me the contract. I read the contract, and I gave them my advice. And they were like, no, this is not good for us. Okay, good. Because you have to understand what's going on. They're asking you for certain information, and they're saying that they are going to audit you. Now, if you don't have this information that they're looking for and you take this money, you're committing fraud. And that's what happened. A lot of people committed fraud.
Wow.
I want people, as a financial literacy instructor, I want people to understand the game. Once you get the game, you can play the game. We're playing in the game without knowing the rules. See, once you know the rules, you're like, oh, okay, I got it now. But if you don't know, you're taking a loss somewhere along the line.
Let's go. Xavier, any questions? All right, so
I'm processing. Right?
So,
but again, and not to cut you off, Rich, it's fun. Financial literacy, it's habit changing. It's mind forming. It's looking at the world from a different perspective. I look at the world through a financial lens.
Okay.
And that's what I do. So this bottle of water, okay, the bottle had to come from somewhere, the water had to come somewhere. What did it entail to get into my hand right now? So when we're talking financial literacy, we're talking about supply chains, we're talking about a whole bunch of stuff. So now we're understanding processes. So now how can I make money off that process? There's a trucking agency, there's a plastic. I might not invest in the water, but I can invest in the bottle. I can invest in the company. You know, a lot of people don't smoke marijuana, okay? But it's becoming legal in a lot of states. So even though you might not smoke it, you might not agree with it, there are other things that you can invest in. There are trucks that are bringing marijuana from point A to point B. Invest in the trucking system. There's a farm that's farming. Invest in the farm. You don't have to worry about the product, but let's look at the whole thing altogether so that you can make money across the board.
Gotcha.
See, what's crazy, we're having this conversation now, right? The thing that was brought up to me one day, I had to look for health insurance.
Okay.
Right? I'm looking at this health insurance and I'm going crazy. Because they have all these different plans and I'm like, what? This makes no sense.
Right.
When I tell you I called around every type of person I could call, like it was calling all different places that they was giving me numbers to. It was like, these people should be able to help you. They didn't help me. They sat there, one lady sat on the phone for 2 hours with me, going through health insurance, and she barely helped me with anything. And I just selected something, then come to find out that was the wrong thing. Somebody else had to come in and be like, you didn't have this put down, you didn't have this put down.
Right.
This is why you was getting the things you was getting. And as I'm looking at these health insurance, I'm like, you can notice what doesn't work for you, you know? But what's crazy is even though you know these things don't work for you in your life, you still have to pay for them.
Right.
It's all this list of stuff. It's like, and then they hike up like hospital care.
Right.
If you gotta go to the emergency room, and these prices is hiked up. And I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, how does this make sense? How is this even okay with sort of prices they put down there? And the amount you may make this amount, but they want you to pay $500 a month. You're making $3,000 a month.
Health insurance.
How does that work? And you still got house to pay, your rent, your this, your that. And it was so bad. I was at work, and they was like, what are you doing? I was like, leave me alone for about an hour while I navigate this, because I need health care for me and my child. What am I doing?
Right.
And when I tell you, it got so bad, I had gotten a headache.
Right.
And took a break from it for a day and had to go back, because I was like, you have a deadline. It's a deadline to when you have to have health care now.
The important thing is, what did you learn from that experience? Do you see what I'm saying?
I learned a lot. And it's still more. I'm going to tell you, I started looking into some other things. It was like, I need to learn more, so if it has to come down to me learning, trying to pick a healthcare plan again, I know something more than this.
Right. That's it. And that's
it was crazy.
The learning, what you took away from that, nobody can take that away from you. Yeah. What you learned from that. All of that frustration is like, okay. But again, it's the game. It's the game. Remember, the question is, does it benefit them or does it benefit you?
No, sir,
Just because it sounds good and looks good doesn't mean it's going to benefit you. It doesn't. It doesn't at all.
Not at all.
So that's the key. Understanding, putting yourself in the middle. How does this work for me? I don't know if it's selfish, but it's just this doesn't work for me. And being able to walk away from the table.
Gotcha.
This doesn't work for me. Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought health insurance, because I think that's another thing we need to learn about health insurance, right? Because we can have health insurance through the state that you live in. If you don't have it from the company that you work for,
right,
or your employer. But the thing is about I realize that there's loopholes to when. A lot of us don't know about health insurance because we know it's a business.
Right.
Every time when you visit the doctor or emergency or something like that, medication, is the 50. Just like you get a 15. What is it? They say $15 copay if you have insurance or something. Yeah, some is more than that. Exactly. And
depends on your policy.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get something in the mail and they be like, oh, you got to pay for this. Right. And they be like, hold on for a second. Where did that come from?
Right.
Yeah. So my question to you is, does that boil down to another thing about we need to learn health insurance too? That's part of financial literacy.
Yes. Okay, let's make it a little bit tighter. We need to understand contracts.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because that's what a health insurance is. It's a contract.
Yeah.
I'm paying into this service. What am I going to receive for my payments every single month?
Yeah.
What don't I receive for my payments every single month? And it's all about understanding the contract.
Gotcha.
So when it comes to insurance, period, yes. What are the benefits? Okay, you know what? If you have an accident between 8 and 9 on a Friday, you're not covered. Where the hell did that come from?
And the bad part is
in a contract. In insurance policy, there are certain things that you can't do.
Yeah.
There are certain things that you can't do. It'll negate the policy.
Yep.
Now, you've been paying into this policy for the last 3-4 years, and now you do that one thing that you're not supposed to do that you didn't know, and you're like, oh,
but
no, you're not supposed to do that.
Like ride a motorcycle, right?
Ride a motorcycle, right. Ride a motorcycle.
That's like when you're in a financing a car, leasing a car. They tell you, if you get arrested in that car with a gun, your car's gone.
Got it, yeah.
It's certain things, if you do this and you do that, your car is gone. You ain't got it. You've been paying on this car for how long?
But that's in the contract. And that can be negotiated.
Everything can be in writing.
Nobody knows that.
That can be negotiated.
Everything got to be in writing.
Yes, in writing. Because if you go to court and it's there, they have to pay out. See what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
If it's there, they have to pay out. If it's not there, then somebody's gonna get left holding the bag.
Okay, so
now, mind you, all of this is financial literacy. A lot of people don't understand what it's the importance of financial literacy. Again, understanding contracts. If I'm a doctor and I slip, I sneeze, and snip something off, does my contract cover that? My insurance cover that?
Gotcha.
So
for health insurance, what is something that you want to drop? If you know this, if you don't, then we could switch to another topic. But if you want to drop a gem, what is it that majority of people don't know about health insurance?
That's a good question. What we just talked about, the do's and the don'ts. Like you said, the motorcycle, riding a motorcycle. A lot of people don't know about that.
Well, that's life insurance, right?
Well, it's also health insurance also.
Gotcha.
It's also health insurance also.
Okay.
So understand, again, knowing what you can and cannot do is the most important thing.
Okay.
Because, again, you can be paying into this contract for X amount of years, and then you do that one thing. Hey, Rich got a new bike. Get on the back. Take me down the street. Boom.
Gone. Done.
Gone. Okay, you weren't supposed to be on that. People go on vacations. They get on scooters. These small things, and they're like, well, you were out the country at that time. You're not covered. You know, these are things.
And that's why they tell you have to have insurance when you go out of the country, depending on where you're going. You gotta have some type of travel.
Well, you should. Every time you leave the country, you should have insurance. You should have. It's called term insurance. You should have term insurance every time you leave the country. And I learned that because I lived in California, so we would go down to Mexico. So we would get insurance every day, just to go down to Mexico. We did that because we were bad boys back then. Doing stuff. We're like doing stuff. We're like, let me just get insurance just in case. Make sure
that's smart,
I don't make it back.
That's smart though. That's just like you know, if you were a gangbanger, a gang. They say, you know, if you a gangbanger, if you doing all this stuff or whatever in the street. I'm just saying. I'm just saying the smart way. Like if you a gangbanger or whatever, and if you doing what you got to do or whatever. Then they say have a life insurance if you were smart.
But it would make sense. They don't think about that.
It would make sense.
If you loved and cared about your family, you would have that
automatic
life insurance. Automatic.
You know what you're doing. You know the lifestyle you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's what you. If you cared and loved about your family so much, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, nope. All right. So the
I was
books,
thinking about health insurance.
All right, another thing about health insurance. Go ahead.
We going to the book.
So the books. Let's start with the conspiracy of credit.
Where you see that?
All right. Okay.
Right there. Right there.
You know, it's up to you.
Okay, let's do this first.
Let's look at it.
Let's do this first. I bought some books that are top tier. When I mean top tier,
yeah, books.
They're top. And these are books that nobody's talking about.
Okay.
I've studied a lot of books, but I'm only bringing you some of them just to show you if you ever want to get into financial literacy. One of the key books that I really like that as a beginner, someone who doesn't understand financial literacy, this is one of the top books that I think
Napkin Finance. All right.
Napkin Finance.
Yeah, so make sure you got that clear. Napkin Finance, okay? So,
and what I'll do is I'll make a list for you so you can drop it in.
This
is an introductory to financial literacy.
For the ones that's listening only to audio, so there's a book titled Napkin Finance. Is by Tiny Hay. Last name is Hay.
Okay. All right. Got it?
Yes.
So what she did was she took concepts and put them on a napkin. To make it so simple, and then then there's like 1 or 2 pages of the concept
for each napkin.
For each napkin. So it's an intro to understanding. It goes into depth of what the concepts and terms are and what they do. That's why I like about it, because once you understand what you're looking for, now what you can do is you can go deeper.
Gotcha. Okay.
So now after Napkin Finance, the truth about money.
Okay, so for the audio listeners now, the title of the book that he just picked up is called The Truth About Money, 4th edition. It's by Rick Edelman.
Right.
Okay.
So now understand, Napkin Finance is like the premier. This one goes deep into what she's talking about in her work.
Gotcha.
Okay? Because it makes sense.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So now,
I was looking at this one.
The rules of that look like that's one of my favorites right there. The rules
of money.
Okay,
got it.
Okay, the rules of money. That's by Richard Templar. Okay, Richard Templar.
All right.
The rules of money.
How to make it and how to hold on to it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent pieces. Now remember, what we have to do is we have to understand the game. Once we understand the game, now we're going to get involved in the game. We're going to actually start actively moving money around. And wealthy people do not play the same rules as poor people.
They do not.
And that brings back to what we've been taught back when we was young. And that goes back to the first when we talked about the first. So when you was here the last episode,
right?
We wasn't taught how the game of money,
right?
we was taught of when you grow up, go to school. After you go to school, get your education, you spend, save, park your money, and then when you put it in the bank, after that, when you go to college, if you choose to go to college, then after that, I intern for someone. Right. After I intern for a company or this, this person, after I work, then after that, I'm working. I am making 40K for the year. Right. So now that I'm making 40K for the year or 45K for the year, then after that I'm good. I'm good. And then I can park this into a retirement account.
Got it.
And then after when I park this into a retirement account, 401k's IRA. When I'm doing that, I'm waiting until I'm 49, 60 years old.
Here you go waiting again.
But I'm waiting until 50, 69 years old. Oh wait, I'm putting this to a pension plan. I'm putting this to a pension to my employer. So hold on, hold on. After I'm doing that, I'm good. I'm good. So after that, my employer is giving me money because when I wait 20, 30, 40 years, I'm getting my money straight from my employer.
Got it.
But then when I retire, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
But that's not the fact. That's not what happens. That's not how it happens.
That's what we was taught.
No, I got it. And again, we're a product of our ancestors, and that's what we're taught. At the time, that's what they believed in, and that's what worked for them. Now it's a different time. It's totally different. So we have to adapt. We have to improvise. We have to figure out the game because the game changes. So what we're using old archaic rules of the game, and we think it's working, but it's actually not. It's not working. So then you meet somebody that tells you that you need to look at certain situations, blah, 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 and you look at it and you're like, okay, I see what's going on. So now the funny thing is, we talk about the pensions, you talk about the companies, blah, blah, blah. What if the company goes out of business?
Oh, do you lose that pension?
I got a question about
that.
Wait,
do you lose that pension?
You don't lose the pension because remember, it's geared towards the stock market.
Yes.
It's in the system, right?
So you can lose that money too.
But if you know anything about corporate raiders, what will they do? They will come in, they will buy the company, they will sell off certain pieces of it, they will actually buy out your pension plan and get you to retire early. See, all this is part of the game. See, what we understand is we can't read half the book. We have to read the whole book. Look at the movie Wall Street.
Yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Look at Wall Street. Look at what happened. Not Wolf of Wall. Look at Wall Street. Look at what was going on.
Yes.
See, again, these are things that are going on, and you're like, wait a minute, hold on. I've been investing 20 years in this pension, but now someone comes in and buys it, and they're going to reformat, and they're going to close out my pension. What's going on here?
So that means you lose your money then.
You lose your value.
Your value of your pension.
You use your value. We have to stop looking at. We have to start looking at value of money. Value of money, and that's key because once you understand value of money, so now if I have $100, the value of that $100, I can purchase $100 worth of whatever. But if the value of that money is lower, I can't buy the same amount. That's what inflation is.
Yes.
So the value of the money that I have, how much is that going to bring me in material goods and purchases?
Yes.
And that's what a lot of people don't get. So they think that, oh, I have a whole bunch of money, but if there's no value to the money, you're not going to be able to make those purchases.
So that brings two things to me. One,
I'm going to bring Social Security next, but go ahead.
One thing it brings up for me is I'm still stuck on why they're not teaching this in school to the kids. They don't want to teach them the financial literacy. But it's like, if y'all teach them while they're in school, if all the crap that y'all teach them in school, y'all don't teach them this, and all the different things, there's some things that's not even completely necessary they need to be teaching in school, but y'all don't want to teach them financial literacy.
Remember, who set up the federal education system?
Right.
David Rockefeller.
Got it.
Right.
And what did he say?
Remember
what he said?
Oh man, hold up.
Remember what he said?
I forgot.
Remember what he said?
If you, woo,
Remember what he said?
It's public information. Hold on.
Now remember. David Rockefeller's organization set up the educational system. He wanted a population of followers, not thinkers.
Right.
He said that in so many words. As long as you follow, it's fine. But when you start thinking, now you're going to compete against me, and I don't want that. So now why would I teach you financial literacy when I can just pay you a wage and you're happy? But if I teach you how to manage this and I teach you how to make it grow, you can maybe one day grow up and compete against me. And that's not going to happen.
I'm trying to pull the quote of what he said. But it was definitely something about, I'm going to create an education system for workers, not someone. No,
right.
for people that know how to work with their hands, not with the way how they think.
Got it. And see, that's key, because the important thing is, this is when a lot of the colleges, the black colleges, were being founded.
Yeah.
And they were asking for money. And you notice a lot of those black colleges were in the South.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the industrial thing,
yes,
okay, the agricultural piece, and as long as you're working in the fields and as long as you're doing that, they were giving money to these schools, okay? And that's key, because when we talk about Booker T. Washington, it's key because he was the master craftsman. He was getting money, his whole school, and they were like, oh, fine, you guys in the field, no problem.
Yeah.
But see, that's why a lot of people shit on Booker T, because they didn't understand what Booker T was doing.
Yeah.
Booker T didn't have a school about agriculture. Booker T had a school about learning and teaching. So the object was to teach the craft and then go back home and teach the community the craft. So he was creating teachers. Wow. He wasn't creating, and that's where the confusion comes in.
Yeah.
So again, to answer your question, why don't they teach it? Is because, one, you can't teach what you don't know.
Yeah.
But two, also you got to understand the curriculum, what's going on. So it's like, who's funding the educational system?
So that goes to. Go ahead.
I'm getting off the topic of education, so let you finish if you still talk about education.
Well, I still got Social Security I want to bring up. So.
I was going to bring up life insurance, right? When your life insurance company goes out of business.
Ooh.
How that work?
I don't know.
I've heard it come up recently.
I don't know, but that's a good one.
Recently,
all right,
so
I'm going to check that.
How that work?
I'm going to check that.
Because, as an example, I have a person who, their parents set up the life insurance for them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And now, this particular life insurance is saying that it's out of business.
Right.
So they're trying to figure out how do they get access to their life insurance now.
Well, that's a good question.
That sounds like that's a stock insurance, not a mutual insurance.
I'll tell you an insurance later. I'm going to tell you right
that's
now,
a good, because I would like to check that out.
I just heard about it, and I was just like, this doesn't make sense. How does a life insurance go out of business like that?
Well, I know how it goes out of business, because bad investments. That's how it goes out of business.
There you go.
Remember, wherever there's a pool of funds somewhere, they're doing something with that. So the question is, what were they doing? And again, here's the thing: when you assets under management, or you're trusting people to move your money, and you don't know what's going on.
Gotcha.
And remember, your value can go up, your value can go down, but they're constantly, every single month, making sure that they get their fees. They get their fees.
So, any more? Because I know you got like 1,000 questions now. I want to get to. All right, so we're gonna get to social. I want to get to Social Security. Then we're gonna finish what Mr. Chuck Finance was for the books, and then Xavier, you can drop all your questions you want.
Okay.
Social Security. Let's talk about it.
Social Security. Got it. What you want to talk about?
So it brings back to. I don't like saying poor mentality, but I mean what we was taught, right? So, and then, you know, we get complaints about like they're cutting, you know, they like, oh, politicians or the people that power at B is gonna cut my Social Security,
right?
You know, and I'm saying stuff. You know where I'm coming from with this stuff like that. Go ahead.
Because I'm saying, this is a couple of things that I'm noticing. One, with the Social Security being cut, they were already saying, as for our generation, we ain't gonna have Social Security.
Yeah, by 2053, the wealth is gonna be zero.
But you got people coming from other countries coming here, and y'all ready to give them Social Security like that.
Yep.
And the ones that's here can't get goddamn thing.
So, can you please just give us a gem on Social Security?
The reason why they're saying that it's going to hit zero is because no one is funding it like it used to be. There are more people taking out of it than actually putting it into it. When you look at the population growth, it's not as expansive as it was before. There's no boom in population and children being born. So think about that. If you are taking away more than you're putting back in, somewhere along the line, you're not going to have anything else.
Okay.
So that's what they're saying. They haven't proved that theory yet, but the way the numbers look, it does look like it's going to happen. But what's going to happen is, if that situation happens, the government is going to have more money printed. It's called a bailout.
Okay.
So that people can feel secure. Because here's what's going to happen. And mark my words, and listen to me very well. There's going to be something that's going to be tragic and it's going to happen. I don't know when, but it is going to happen. Because people are going to wake up and go like, where's my money? People are, nationwide, where's my money?
Damn.
You said that if I invest in this, you said that if I put money in this, at the end I'm going to receive what I'm supposed to. Where's it at? I'm demanding, after 20 years, 30 years of investing in this 401k, and remember 401ks are not that old. They're not that old. So now where's my money at? Now I can't go back 30 years prior and make changes. No, I want my money. And there's going to be a major overhaul. People are going to be upset.
These things, one, I think that's going to be the ones that's in their late 20s, early 30s. That's where it's going to hit. When we hit our 50s and 60s, we're going to be the ones to be doing that, more than likely. And then on top of that, does it, with the growth of so many people open it up, becoming, well, how did I say, there's so many more people opening up their own businesses to work for themselves.
Go ahead.
Is why Social Security is not being funded the way it's supposed to be.
Well, now you got it.
And like they said, they're gonna cut they're gonna cut Social Security.
Right. Well, now you got it. So now, understand, more people learn how to play this game. Wealthy people play different roles than poor people.
Sad part is, it's so many that are not ready to jump on board with the rest, or that
if they don't adapt.
Let me say, not to have the knowledge, but the ones that they're not that type of person to wanna, like you said, adapt or be able to get their mind.
So they're gonna be left behind, and that's the sad part. They're gonna be left behind. So now the question is, you're hungry. You want to eat. You haven't prepared yourself. How are you going to eat? You're going to go out there and take it from somebody.
You
got it. So you're going to take it from somebody, but now you're going to come and try to take it from me. But I'm an advocate of firearms. So something's going to happen to you. You know, these are things that you got to think about. You know, but the financial literacy is deep. It's really deep. So if you're not prepared, if you haven't adapted, you haven't changed, now you're hungry, now you got to go out, you got to try to rob somebody, stick somebody in the head, okay? Now you get shot because that person you're trying to rob is a gun advocate. Now what happened? Now who do you blame that on? Somewhere along the line, we got to say to ourselves, I need to learn this stuff. Somewhere along the line, I need to, why am I broke at the end of the month all the time? I need to learn this stuff. So now there are 4 things that affect your money, and that's all. 4 things. Everything falls under this category, 4 categories. 4 things that affect your money. 1 is debt.
Drop it, y'all. He's about to drop it.
Debt affects your money. Got it? Inflation affects your money. Got it? Your own decisions affect your money.
Yeah.
Got it?
Oh, say that one more time.
Your own decisions affect your money.
That was a bar.
And taxes affect your money.
Of course.
All those 4 things. So if you think about any time money leaves your pocket, right? It falls under one of those 4 categories. Debt, taxes, inflation, and your own decisions. So now here's the key. You can control 3 of them. You can control your debt. You can control taxes. Got it? You can't control inflation.
You can control your decisions.
You can control your own decisions. So when you understand those 4 things, you're like, okay, how do I manage that? How do I manage my taxes? How do I manage the income that's coming into my pocket so that I pay less taxes? How do I do that? See what I'm saying? How do I control my debt? Do I have too much bad debt or not enough good debt? How do I make these change? Again, we're changing. Okay, my own decisions. No, I'm not giving you that loan without collateral. Well, you know I'm good for it. Yeah, I know you're good for it, but I need the collateral. Because just in case if you don't give it back, I got a collateral that I can take this and I can pawn and get my money back.
Gotcha. And how?
You see what I'm saying? And these are things that we got to think about. Wealthy people play by solely set different rules than poor people do.
So, how can you kind of answer the question when you say how to manage the taxes? Because I know they're going. I know it. So I have to ask this question. There you go.
How to handle your taxes, that come into
that's
play.
How you control. That's how you control your taxes right here. Lower your taxes.
Yeah, but doesn't that come into play with the money that you have coming in?
What's that?
Doesn't that come into play with the money that you have coming in?
And
how you navigate, like you said, the decisions you make?
Well, if you're working, so if you're working, for someone or corporations, you can. Yes, taxes will be taken out regardless.
But what I'm saying is, you working for somebody else or a corporation or whatever, right? You have that, but then you have other streams of income coming in.
Yes,
got it.
That brings up your income. Income.
Got it.
But even though you have that going on, there's other ways where you could also make. Like I said, it comes down to lowering your taxes. Yeah, you have that coming in, but if you file it this way or that way with certain things, you can get it lowered.
Get it lowered.
There's more money back in your pocket.
So
all in all,
I want to get that on camera. I want to get that on camera. Lower your taxes big time. Small Business Wealth, Building a Tax Reduction Secret from an IRS Insider by Sandy
Bodkin,
CPA. Oh, that's a CPA.
Again, okay. These are books that nobody's talking about. Okay.
This is good. This is good.
Just read the chapter 1 of the first. What does that say? What did you say?
Why you would be brain dead not to start a home-based business.
That's chapter 1. Now, Sandy Bodkin worked for the IRS.
This is good.
He's an insider. He left the IRS and started teaching people financial literacy.
This is good. So
this is again. Okay. This is the next one.
Ooh.
Hold on,
I've
y'all.
been looking at that book the whole time.
So facts, right? All right. So for the audio listeners again, please put that on camera too. The Tax and Legal Playbook. Yo, what's your Cash App? What is your Cash App? What? Hold on. Drop it. Listen. What is your Cash App? Listen, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do.
Cash App got too many problems.
Cash App. Listen, Cash App Diamond Cash Rich 4 number 4. And then I will send it to Charles.
But how about that?
Yes.
But how about that?
Cash App, Cash App.
Now remember, what we do is, anytime we're dealing with the IRS, we go straight to the IRS website. because we have to verify our information and data. That's all that's to it. So if it says that in the IRS, it's a legal, you can actually apply whatever. It's okay, it's approved. When people get audited, they fear the audit. You don't have to fear the audit.
And they just do what they tell them.
If your stuff is above board, you don't have to fear it.
Yes.
And a lot of times the audit is about a line item or something that they're questioning. Okay, you know what, your LLC, okay, we talked about this. Okay, why did you order $1 million of water and put that as a tax write-off? You can't do that. Okay, you are not in the business of water. You can't do that. But you took this water and you put your label on it. That's the tax write-off. So if you go to the auditor and you're like, okay, well, look at the bottle. This is the bottle I bought. This is the label. This is advertising. Oh, that's perfectly legal, according to IRS tax code.
So if
do you see what I'm saying?
Hold on.
You heard exactly what he said.
So hold on. So if, let's say if I go to the sneaker store or something.
Right.
I go to the sneaker store.
Right.
I buy, what is it, Nike, whatever, Adidas.
Okay, got it.
Then I put my print. I refuse to turn my vision to write-off.
That's it.
I refuse to turn my vision to ashes.
Right, that's it.
On the sneaker.
That's it.
That's a write-off.
That's advertising. That's advertising.
Oh.
But see, and again, the audit is about the proof of the line item. Okay, so if you can explain what they're asking you, you're going to be clear. If you can't, it's like, you know what? I can't take that. I accept that. They're going to redo the numbers and give you a different number.
And that's it.
All it is like, why did you make this purchase? Because again, what we're looking at is, if I'm not in the water business, I shouldn't be buying $1 million of water. Right. But if I am in the water business, I'm going to buy $1 million of water.
Gotcha.
Yes, understood.
That book one more time,
right,
please.
Tax and legal.
Hold on. So the tax, the tax and legal playbook, right. Game change solution for your small business question.
Right.
Yes.
Mark Jake, or CPA attorney.
Okay.
So
Mark Kohler, yes.
Mark Kohler. Okay.
Mark
So everyone. So that means that even if you work a 9 to 5. That just means that everyone should have, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you know, you should be like at least an investor or something to lower your taxes.
What is the first chapter in here? It said, you got to be brain dead.
You got to be.
You need a home business.
You need a home business.
Point
got it. You
that means setting up an LLC then.
Got it.
Even if you have a 9 to 5, even if you're not an entrepreneur. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, have an LLC in place to invest.
There are over 200 deductions that you can take when you have a business.
Come on,
that you cannot take if you are just a regular 9 to 5.
Come on, okay. Come on. Listen, how can they Cash App, Zelle? Come on, talk to me.
Let's do this real quick. Let's do this real quick. Okay, got it. So this. John Hope Bryant, all his work.
They're gonna have to pay for this information. I'm sorry, man. They're gonna have to pay for this
for your economic.
The 5 rules for your economic liberation.
Memo.
Okay.
The memo. John Hope Bryant. I hope they getting that. Yeah. Let's go.
Now remember, there's mindset and there's application. Okay. This is all about mindset. Understanding the game. Okay. These books. Their application, teaching you how to play the game. So understand, once you get it, you're like, okay, wait a minute. Why am I buying a car when I should lease it? And then that's a tax write-off through my business.
Stop. Slow it down one more time, what you just said.
Okay.
Why should I buy a car?
Right. When I should actually be leasing it through my business.
And I can...
Tax write-off.
Tax write-off.
Got it.
Okay. I hope I got that clear.
Now understand, remember what we're going to do is we're being taxed on our earned income.
Yeah.
But if we can drop our earned income, if you look at those tax brackets, I'm going to pay less in taxes. That's what it's all about. That's what people don't get. Now let's go to the next one. Okay.
How to outsmart the credit bureaus. Okay, this is where credit, this is everything you.
It says everything you
ever needed to know about credit bureaus. Who is it by?
Got it.
Who's it by?
Corey P. Smith.
Okay, so all the audio listeners, y'all got that. Okay.
Corey P. Smith.
Listen, man, y'all gonna have to don't.
Corey P. Smith is the man. Remember, all these books that I showed you, and I just bought a few. Nobody's talking about him. Nobody's talking about him. Corey is the man, and once we're off camera, I'll tell you something about Corey.
Conspiracy of Credit.
I just opened this part.
Corey P. Smith. Yo.
Hold on. Wait.
You gotta read what it says.
So, all right, guys. So on camera, The Conspiracy of Credit by Corey P. Smith.
Same brother.
And,
now read the rest of that,
and then the rest of it says debt.
Corey, if you hear this, next time you come to New York, you better call me.
And they who?
We gotta read the rest of that though. It says debt, and they who control the credit of the nation. What? Nation hold in the.
You got it.
I'm trying to get it together over here.
Oh, okay.
And
Go ahead, take the book.
I'm over here trying to read it.
Can I read the fine print?
Go ahead.
Wait. The history of credit bureaus. This is only a tip.
Right.
It says the only way to defeat any enemy is to know where he is and as well as who he is and the weapons he has at his disposal. I'm going to give you a brief history of the 3 credit bureaus and the people. Listen, man, that's it.
Got it?
That's it. Which is Experian,
Equifax,
Equifax, and TransUnion.
And you know that they're all they're public companies.
You gotta what's on the head.
You know that because they're public companies, you can actually file a claim against them.
Whoa, yeah.
They're public companies. Got it?
I might have to put this on this tab. I don't know. This episode, I might have to put this on premium.
Remember what I said? That puzzle, that one piece.
Yes.
If you get that one piece, it's like, oh my! I understand it all now.
Yeah.
All of these will get you to understand the real stuff of what's going on. Mm-hmm. Okay. What we know is what's being shown to us. But you have insiders and you have people who are like, let me drop some stuff to you. I've been in this business for so long. Let me show you what they're doing. Let me show you what they're really doing. Let me tell you something. I got situations where people have told me things where I had a young lady, she sent her mortgage payment into a bank, right? She get a call from the bank, they didn't get the payment.
Wow.
What do you mean you didn't get the payment? So now she's talking about foreclosure. What are you talking about foreclosure? Okay. Sure enough, what she did was she sent it FedEx. So now, calls FedEx, blah, 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 got the signature, blah, blah, blah. Oh, call back, okay. Oh, we found it. See, these are games that they play.
Yep.
These are games that they play. I'm talking about banks, mortgage companies that they play. You write a check or you send a payment and they're like, oh, we didn't get it. Yes, you did. Prove it. See, if you're not paying attention, it's like an account that takes 10 cents off. And you don't see that 10 cents. But if they did 1,000 people, if they did 1,000,000 people, that 10 cents adds up. Mm-hmm. And see, this is, again, that fine print that we're looking at. Like, oh, okay, I got it. And you know what? It's like they can take 100 people and make a mistake. And no one sees it. And then they go to another state and do it. You know, all of these things are adding up. Okay. This one here. This is the last book. This one is not for lightweights.
Web of the. You mean not for beginners?
No, it's not for beginners.
The web of debt. The shocking truth about our money system and how we can break free.
Okay. This is not. I just bought this so people can have an idea that there are levels to financial literacy.
All of this.
That's why the first one, Napkin Finance, helps you understand. And then if you want to go deeper, you can progress into some real stuff.
Gotcha.
And that's what the key thing is about. And also being able to have a conversation of understanding that when it comes to life insurance, when you're having a conversation with a life insurance agent, you can ask questions and they go like, oh, you know about that? Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was asking them questions recently. I just ghosted the damn life insurance people.
Yeah.
I ghosted them. I just stopped answering them because I was asking them questions and they had half answers for me.
Right.
So then as I was asking, I was just like, I'm reading, and then I'm also reading the contract, and I'm just like,
right.
It just got to the point I stopped answering them, and I was like, I'm not doing this no more.
Right.
I didn't even want to tell them I don't want to do this or nothing. I just stopped answering them because I was just like, y'all don't even know what I'm talking about.
They don't.
Point.
They're only there to fill out paperwork and sell a product.
That's it.
Yep.
Sell a
That's what
product.
it
And
is.
then what happens is, I don't want people to, at the end, when they think that they're expecting something and they don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't go back in 20, 30 years, 10 years and change that. You can't do that. You've wasted time.
Yeah.
You've wasted time. So now we talk about Social Security. We talk about all of this. The key that I think that we need to focus on is cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Once we understand cash flow, how can I take my money and invest it into cash flow? That's what it's all about. Because once we understand cash flow, no matter what, when it comes to inflation or whatever, I'm always got a steady cash flow.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
And that's what the key is. So now I'm not worried about Social Security. I got constant cash flow.
There you go.
I'm not worried about something happening when it comes to an accident or something. I got current cash flow. I got cash flow constantly coming in. And now we're talking about real estate. We're talking about real estate investment trusts. We talked about that before.
Yep.
You know, that's what we're talking about, systems. You know, why am I getting 0.003% when I can take this, put it in a real estate investment trust, and I can make constantly every single month 50 or 60 bucks? That's much more than what you're giving me when it's parked there sitting there and I make 0.003 cent. And again, this is what we're talking about investing, financial literacy. This is what they don't want you to know. The banks don't want you to know this. My problem with the banks is this. The object of the bank is to do what? Make money. They're making money off you. I talked about this before, fractional reserve, fractional lending. So understand that for every dollar that you put in the bank, they can loan out 90% of that dollar. Got it? 90%. So if I put $10 in the bank, they're loaning out $9. This is called fractional reserve lending. This is legal what they do. So now here's the thing. They have a program that Family and Friends Day. You bring your family members, your little children, 3, 4 years old, teach them how to invest and how to save and blah, blah, blah. So if I got a 5 or 6 year old and I'm teaching them how to come to the bank and how to put money in the bank, their little cents and blah, 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 blah. So now we're talking about 6 years old. We're talking about someone that's doing this on a constant basis for until they're 18. It's not a lot of money, but how much money did that make for all those years of those dollars that are put in? How much money did they make?
But that's where, for stuff like that, that's where it breaks down for me. I'm like, just how the banks is doing that, we need to break it down for the kids so that they can learn financial literacy.
Yeah.
Got it. So they can learn financial. They need to learn.
Instead of going to the bank to do all of that.
Right.
How we gonna? We gotta find a way. Break it down for 5, like you said, 5, 6 year olds can understand and learn.
So now, as parents. Again, as parents, what we need to do is, we talked about insurance at the very beginning, we need to set up those insurance policies.
Yeah.
So when we set up those insurance policies, we can borrow off ourselves. You see that? But do the banks want that? No. They just, so this is how it works. What we're trying to do is, we're trying to be the catalyst for the future of our families.
Yes.
And we are the ones that are actually breaking the chains and the molds, and we're suffering because we're getting out of what we're doing, so that when our kids come up, no, you don't have to do that. We got you covered. What is it that you want? Show me the model. Show me the game plan. And if I like it, I'll invest into it. I have a person, the woman got upset because she wanted to invest in a project. And I'm kind of like the advisor, so I said, okay, well, let me see the numbers. She couldn't show me the numbers. But she was enthusiastic. She was happy. She was excited. I was like, yeah, I got it. Let me see the numbers. She couldn't show me the numbers. So if I can't see the numbers, it doesn't make sense to me. And she had a lot of great, wonderful ideas. I'm like, okay, but show me the numbers. She wanted to open up an event space. I said, okay, yeah, I can see that. But the questions that I asked her, she got defensive and upset. And I'm like, I understand what you're saying, but when it comes to this money, you're not fronting this money. Somebody else is. And my job is to protect that money. So the questions I was asking her was, how many days you're going to have it open during the week? What programs you're going to have? What happens if you don't keep it open during the week? You know, are you going to get paid? Are you fronting? Are you doing marketing? And all these things, she couldn't have those answers. I was like, until you get those answers for me, we can move forward. But now it's, again, that enthusiasm thing doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
Everybody's excited.
Yeah.
Got it. So that's what it boils down to.
Nothing. If you got nothing, we can close this out. This is too. They had a lot of. That's it. That's it for the audience.
What I wanted the audience to understand is that if there's one takeaway is we are designed not to know what we know, and it's not your fault. But if you listen to this, now it's your fault. Now it's your fault because this platform has opened up the door for you to ask questions and start going like, you know what, I need to think about that. I need to start moving. I need to start adapting. I need to read some of these books. I need to, you know what, I need to get more actively involved in my life when it comes to my finances. Let me find out why am I always short at the end of the month? And it's very simple.
Yeah.
That means your expenses are higher than your income. So let me look at my expenses. Okay, what am I spending money on that I don't have to? Okay, you know what? Let me trim that off right now.
Gotcha.
So now, you know what? For the month of February, I was able to pocket $25. That's $25 in January I didn't have. March, let me see what else. Okay, you know what? I can trim that. Now I've saved in the month of March $50. And that's what it's all about. It starts small. So now once you start slow, you're like, okay, now when you start, again, developing these habits, you're like, oh, okay, now let me see what else I don't need. Do you see what I'm saying? And now you talk about Starbucks and people, you know, okay, people got to buy Starbucks every single day. I know people like that. Okay, but if you want to seriously trim, okay, you know what? I'm going to do Starbucks 3 times a week. Okay, 2 times a week. Okay, Tuesday and Thursday, I'm not going to do Starbucks. So $5, let's say. I'm going to take that $10 and I'm going to pocket it away. That's $40.
Gotcha.
A month of not drinking Starbucks every other day.
Weed smokers.
Go ahead.
That's another thing about that. They think that that's a part of, not to take away from, you know, weed, but I'm just saying about
it's legal now in New York.
No, I'm just saying it's legal now, but I'm just saying expenses way, like, you know, when exactly a day just smoking, just to smoke.
And my question,
it's nothing bad at all. I'm just saying your expenses.
Okay,
do you have?
So now watch this. You know what? Sandy Bakken said I'd be brain dead not to have a home-based business. It's legal in New York. Okay, you know what? Let me create a blog about weed.
There you go.
Now I get my receipts for my weed because it's legal in New York. Now we're talking about a tax write-off. Am I correct?
Solve that problem.
So now you're doing a blog. You're talking about weed, you know. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Creating a podcast. Now you're getting people to come in and talk about it. Oh, how do you flip it? That's what financial literacy is all about. How do you flip it? How do you make it legal? And that's what it's all about. I'm not saying don't smoke weed, but let's figure out how we can make this a business. And then you want to make more money? Let's start getting affiliates on my podcast.
For all the weed smokers, he just gave y'all a gem of what to do. He just gave y'all a gem what to do. Easy.
Do you see that?
Quick, fast.
If you're gonna do it anyway, let's make some money off of it. If you're gonna do it on a daily basis, let's make some money off of it.
No? Let's close it out.
Got it?
That's a fact.
You already gave your final thoughts.
He just like I can't even I'm stuck.
So, how can they reach you? How can they,
Chuck Finance on TikTok and Chuck Finance on Instagram.
Okay.
All right. So how can they fund you? I'm serious. Cash App, Zelle, whatever.
He's like, nah.
Oh, you know what I forgot to talk about? All right. Chuck Finance on Instagram. Reach out to me if you want to fund me. That's fine. Yes, fund me, Chuck, and I'll send you some information. Zelle. I don't do Cash App because Cash App they funky. Cash App is funky. Okay, but I'm starting the class next month.
Which class?
The penny stock class next month.
Let's go.
I'm starting it next month. Okay, and that's why this month I'm promoting the whole thing. So starting a penny stock course, it's a 3-month course. You will be actually trading live with no money.
During the day? Or
Well, whenever you want to trade.
Okay.
In person?
Remember when it comes to...
In person or remote?
No, through Zoom.
Okay.
Through Zoom. So now what we're doing is we're going to set up the class, and you're going to actually be trading. The key to trading is the studies.
Gotcha.
Because the trading that's simple, inputting.
Okay.
It's studying what you're looking at. So that's going to happen starting next month. So if you really want to get into it, you got to hit me up. You got to actually let me know. So that, and also the credit class.
Credit repair.
The business credit.
Yes.
The business
right
credit.
there, we need that
That's
too.
coming up too in New York. So that's going to be something major. That's going to be in New York. That's going to be live though.
Okay.
So just letting you guys know. So if you guys are interested, when you hear me out, shout me out and let me know that you heard about me on the podcast, and we'll work something out.
Let's
Get
go.
you guys involved.
All right.
Got
That's it.
problem. Make this work.
That's the end of the episode.
All right.
Yo, I like this
Yo.
one.
I thank you guys. Thank you guys a lot.
We did it.
I don't even know if
all good.
I should make this public or premium.
Well, I mean, so you decide.
Listen.
You decide.
That's it. We go wherever you ain't that. Listen.
You the boss, so
All good.
you the
Yeah.
boss, so we can do
good.
this. All right, so
Yeah.
thank you, Chuck Finance,
All
and
right.
on to the next one. Peace
All right.
out.
Thank
That's
you,
it.
man. Thank you, man. Thank you.
That's the end of the
Thank you.
episode.
Thank you.
Out.
That was crazy.